So this whole world of new media and old media is kind of coming to a head, and now it's playing out with Kevin Durant. He is of a generation and a type of basketball where every year you're on a new team, you're on multiple teams at one time. If you're a top young player playing basketball today, you're out there on your high school team, your AAU team. Maybe you have a rec team that you play with just for fun. Maybe you also play in the park and play pickup, or you go play in the gym and go run at LA Fitness or UCLA or something. So you're on teams all the time. It's no longer this 4 or 5 years of making your bed and sleeping in it. So for Kevin Durant, also in any other profession in the world, Brockman, if Levitard and friends called, someone tells me you're getting on the first flight to Miami.
I mean, I got to hear what they got to say, right?
You might connect through Houston. You might connect through Dallas.
I don't know what the direct
You might take a red eye
situation is.
overnight, and just deal with the bulkhead seat. But something tells me you're down there in South Beach. Del Tufo, you mix all the time for all different
everything
jobs.
I try.
You do so much work elsewhere that do you even work here? Like, do you need me to sign you in?
No, Jason. I call this Jason's console now.
Yeah,
I'm a fill-in.
fast 10 over there.
I'm
yeah.
a fill-in.
I love it. And TJ, you think about how many odd jobs you've had over the years and different experiences, and you've been able to challenge yourself in different ways and take on new sides of yourself and want to work with different people over the years.
Facts.
So Kevin Durant's just doing that, and he's just doing it on the highest stage of pro sports for $50 million a year. We're talking basketball. But for old media that's sort of stuck on this, he's got to stay in Brooklyn and figure it out. Would it have been better 2 years ago if Damian Lillard had gone down to Miami and we would have seen him in games that actually mattered?
Yes, absolutely.
That's better, right?
Better.
Better for fans, better for media, probably better for Dame.
Yep.
Well, now he's got $120 million staying in Portland for 2 years, and that's fine. But there's something about the way that player mobility is dissected and analyzed in the conversations in sports today. And I think the way in which you talk about it as a member of new media or old media actually blurs your view on player mobility and movement. As a fan, Brockman, and a member of, I would say, new media, the show is ever evolving. Where do you want to see Kevin Durant play basketball next year?
I want to see him play in the West.
In Golden State or anywhere else but Golden State?
I would say anywhere else but Golden State. As a fan who cares about, we talk legacy and all that stuff all the time. I was having a debate with some of my college friends about Kevin Durant's legacy. They were convinced that if he switches teams again, it tarnishes his legacy. And I go, well, if he goes to a different team and wins finals MVP, that only enhances his legacy because he's the best player on the team that won the title. So doesn't that make him great? Like, his legacy is great basketball player. It doesn't matter really where he plays. I think in the beginning I was a little caught up too in he joined the team that beat them. Why would you do that? But then he went to that team and was the best player on that team. So Kevin Durant's legacy is great basketball player who wins. So I don't really care where he goes. I would like him out of the East as a Celtics fan, but we swept them this year, so it really doesn't matter. Like, if he goes to Phoenix, I think that's a really cool and fun situation with Chris Paul there at the end of his career trying to win a championship, and Devin Booker. That's a really fun big three that they have that can compete now with Golden State, who is back at the top of their superpowers. So I think that's really fun. And if Kyrie Irving does go to the Lakers, suddenly look at those three teams, and we're not even talking about Denver and Utah's retooling, and now Dallas with the Luka's emergence as an absolute superstar. So I think Kevin Durant in Phoenix is probably the coolest situation for me, especially as a fan and as a fan of a specific team. I want him away from Brooklyn and Miami.
Ben Lyons filling in for Rich Eisen on the Rich Eisen Show. And Brockman answered that like a real hooper, because real hoopers know to be the best player on the best team, that's what you want to do. You want to do that in the Summer League tournament at Hoops in the Sun in the Bronx. You want to do that at the Drew League. You want to do that at basketball camp for a week. You want to do that playing pickup in Venice. You want to be the best player on the best team. That's the way it goes. It's king of the mountain. And if he can do that, and look, Brooklyn has done some things that I don't necessarily think that Kevin Durant wants to be a part of long term. Like committing to Ben Simmons when this dude is the opposite of a hooper. I don't think is what I want to see as a fan, as a basketball fan, for the next act of Kevin Durant's career. How about you, TJ, as a big basketball fan? Where do you want to see KD hoop next year?
A lot of thoughts about Kevin, but like obviously, I'd ultimately like to see him on on the Sixers, right? Because I know Embiid has been kind of pounding the table for that. I kind of see what that big three could do with he and Harden. Now, I don't know how realistic.
Third time he's going to play with James Harden in his career?
Apparently, though, those two do have a good relationship. So, I mean, that's just me as a Sixer fan, a pipe dream, obviously. As far as Chris, though, getting him out of the East, I kind of agree. Like, if he's not on my team, I don't want to have to deal with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
But I'm also, Chris, you brought up something very valid about all the noise, because there's always noise around Kevin Durant and everything he does. You know, is he, you know, a little too sensitive? Does he pay too much attention to what people say about him? A lot of the noise is this team hopping thing and people talking about his legacy. To me, Kevin Durant's legacy is that dude's one of the greatest bucket getters I've ever seen in my entire life, and one of the greatest bucket getters the world has ever seen. So to me, that's his legacy. He went to a team, like you said, Chris, everything you said I agree with. He went to a team, he was the best player on those teams, no matter what anyone tries to tell you. KD was the difference. If KD doesn't play for Golden State, here's a question for you guys. Do they win those titles, do you think?
Who knows? We'll never know, right? It's the ultimate sliding doors of NBA history.
What do you think, though?
No, I don't think they do. I honestly, I don't. I think what KD did took them to a level of basketball nirvana that we probably haven't seen and we might not see again with him and Clay and Steph and those guys. So
I guess to fully answer it, I'm not really sure where I'd like to see him go. Maybe just in order to like stop the Kevin Durant noise, maybe stay in Brooklyn and try to figure that out. But like you said, he and Ben Simmons, man, you talk about two polar opposites on the basketball spectrum. Just don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me, and I'm with you guys. Like, I want to see him be the best player on the best team. That's his legacy, is being the ultimate hooper, touching every court on earth. This man is at the Rucker, he's at Dykeman, he's at the Olympics. He's played the Olympics, I think, 4 times, 4 gold medals. You know, the guy loves basketball, and you want to see him play at the highest level with people around him who love it as well, like Chris Paul and guys like that. So I hope it works out. And by the way, wouldn't that silence all the like Brockman and his college buddies legacy debates, which I'm sure Kevin Durant loses sleep over? Wouldn't this totally...
He would respond on Twitter, though, I feel
he
like.
would respond. Oh, right. He actually would. But wouldn't this like silence that debate or just silence all that noise if he comes out and dethrones the Warriors? If he says, okay, you guys clown me for coming to Golden State. Right. Now I'm going to go somewhere else in the West. I'm going to beat Golden State.
It would be awesome.
I think it'd be amazing.
It would be amazing.
A Western Conference Finals, Golden State, and whatever team Kevin Durant's on. This is incredible television next spring. So there's part of me that thinks he's not going to move, and that Rich and them did this as a flex to get Brooklyn to shake things up and to, just because. But then there's also part of me as a basketball fan that really wants to see him get out of there. The Knicks fan in me does too. But also just a basketball fan to see him continue to write his legacy at a high level. I don't want to see him as a 7 seed and getting swept in the first round the next couple of years. That's not how it goes. How about you, Del Tufo? You just want to see him rocking some Kawhi sandals, and that's never going to happen.
I want him on a team that can beat TJ or Brockman's team.
There you go. There you go. There he is. He's back. You can follow him on Twitter
our misery.
at Mike Del Tufo.